Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Angel Azara, and I'm a professional opera singer and voice teacher, and today I am finally reacting to Dimash Kudaibergen singing Olimpico, or Ogni Pietra. You guys have been requesting this for forever. I've been trying to go chronologically, like hand to God. I have not listened to this one yet. I have had so much self-discipline for once, and I get to listen to it for the first time with you guys. So, without further ado, Ogni Pietra. I love listening to him sing operatically. Like, hearing him sing tenor is my favorite thing. It's quite low right now. I would still quantify it as a tenor sound, maybe a little low, but tenor. And it's beautiful. He looks so relaxed, and the set is insane. I will say I did choose the official video from his channel, but I do have the fan cam at the end just to see if there are some things that I've missed, being able to see his face close up. It's so funny. There is a cartoon called Willie the Operatic Whale, voiced by Nelson Eddy, and it's like from the 40s or 30s or something. And the position of Willie the Operatic Whale's mouth position, round, almost like a very gentle figure eight, like a very fat figure eight. And that's, he's like textbook, like so good it doesn't even look real. It looks like it was drawn by an animator. His aperture, the opening of his mouth, is just perfect. There we go. It's also interesting that he never pulls the mic away from his face when he breathes, yet I never hear him inhale. No matter how powerfully he's singing, it's always a silent intake. Beautiful. I think this is the first time that I've listened to him get this far into a performance without taking out one of his monitors, one of his ear monitors. Let's go back just a little. He's still, yeah, he's still wearing both of them. I've never seen him last this long without getting overwhelmed by his own voice or by the feedback. It's really interesting hearing him sing in a full, you know, head voice operatic sound, female or treble sound operatically this low. I mean, we've always heard him sing with a soprano register when he's in head voice, and right now he's carried it pretty far down into a mezzo register, and it still sounds beautiful. It's a lot more powerful. No, I shouldn't say powerful. It's richer. I mean, to be in the middle register singing in a female sounding head voice. And I do think this is the first time I've heard it. He's usually quite far into a soprano range when he's singing with head voice like this. So just another new thing that he can do. I'm not surprised. And that was a really beautiful color change. Did you hear how it immediately brightened when he gave himself just that little bit of, wind. He gave himself just that little bit of extra space by lifting his teeth. And again, it's not so wide as a belt positioning would be. It's quite a dark sound. And then if I just raise them, obviously it's going to sound brighter because I have ascended in pitch, but I think the additional raise of the soft palate does lend itself, just the additional space lends itself to being a brighter, more pingy sound when you're that high. Perfect cutoff too. You never really hear Dimash do an unclean cutoff. It's always to the point. It never cuts off down. It's always up and to the point. There's no air, you know, fizzing its way through at the end. It's always a clean cutoff. It's nice to have a live choir too. I think the one thing that for me personally, for my own personal taste, the only thing that I wish was different about this song was that the orchestration was a traditional classical orchestration. Because he is singing so operatically, you know, whatever range he's in, he's using an operatic production. And I just, like the electronic sound of the orchestra, the instrumentation that's being used, it's just not my personal preference. I'd really like to hear heavy strings and brass. And I'm just hearing this like really, you know, I don't know. It's just not for me. Although I do think that the drums might be like specifically a Kazakh thing, the way that they're being implemented, and my ear could just not be used to it and I could just get over it. But I don't know. I'd like to hear this with a Western European classical orchestra just because I'm reactionary and an old fart. Did you see there? He actually started it with a slightly wider aperture and then immediately cinched it in. Oh, even when he, you know, even as he's going in the middle of a live performance, he's able to adjust to, you know, into what he needs for the moment that he's in. And he does immediately correct himself. Just that tiny bit. Just that tiny bit of correction to a more narrow opening. It was such a small musculature, but it was very, to me, it was very clearly him saying, oh, I need to adjust. I have to have a more narrow space for this. It needs to be taller. Nice. And to me, that last note was metered out very interestingly. He started it with vibrato, then backed off to senza, crescendoed back into vibrato, and then took it away right at the end to end it cleanly. And it was ended very, very cleanly. I think he's using the differentiation between senza and between senza vibrato and with vibrato just to create an even more dramatic dynamic change in the note. It was like he did a double messa di voce, or like one messa di voce and a half, which is pretty interesting and hard to do when you're all the way up there. So let's jump into the fan cam now. I'm not going to listen to the whole thing, but I am going to skip around a little bit because I do want to see. I've heard that this one just shows you a lot more. That one was pretty quickly moving with all the camera work. What's going on? Yeah, so right off the bat, I can see a lot more with what's happening with his jaw. Unfortunately, just the way the music, the text is written, it's certain consonants that have to be produced with two lips. It's not like la or na that can be done with just the tongue. They have to be articulated by the jaw, these specific consonants. But what you see is that while he's articulating these consonants, instead of letting his jaw move into a different position for each one, he's adjusting back into the exact same space so that his mouth, the aperture, is as consistent as it can be while he's articulating all of these various consonants. It's just a way to stay consistent with resonance and color, and he's doing it very well. I mean, just keep, it's gonna happen again. And he is producing more space as he goes higher, but you see when he's in the same range, da, 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 it's all kind of hitting in the exact same spot, opening into the exact same spot. So let's jump ahead a little more. I think here he's in head voice. Yeah. When he's up in his head voice, it's the same. If he has to articulate consonants with his jaw, he keeps the aperture as consistent as possible when he opens and closes, when he goes back and forth. And I mean, look at that. It's a beautiful aperture. Like it's perfect. When, you know, when you're much higher, when you're maybe a fourth higher than he's singing now, that's when the teeth get raised, like I was talking about earlier. you can also see that his lips are not only, like his mouth is not only in a round or oval shape, but like I said earlier when I was talking about Willie the operatic whale, they're also slightly pursed or like kissy faced. I have heard the explanation that that is done, you know, to increase resonance, like the lip of a tuba or trombone. That is not why that's helpful. So if you've heard that, please disregard it. But what is helpful about pursing your lips in that manner while you're singing is, it's like I said when I just reacted to Your Love, and there's a lot of times where he will squat as he sings a high note. He's taking energy and tension, putting it in his legs where it's not going to affect his voice, so that he frees up another aspect. So when you're tensing these muscles here, not much, not a lot, but just a little bit, it's enough to sort of distract. It takes away from energy and tension in places where it doesn't need to be, like the tongue or the jaw or even the strap muscles or the back of the neck. It's just one of those little, like, if you're trying to change a habit, you don't think, oh, I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to do that. You think, what's something positive that I can put in place of this? What's something that I can do that's better for me? Or if it's not better for me, at least it will get my mind off of this. And he does it pretty consistently throughout. I mean, all of the things that he does are just a sign of a clear understanding of his voice. When he immediately adjusted into a more narrow mouth position, you know, immediately corrected himself in a huge, you know, high energy, high, oh my gosh, I can't think of any words. I filmed like 10 videos today and my brain is dead. But, it, you know, this is a really like incredibly demanding, you know, lots riding on this performance. And even in this situation, you know, he can immediately adjust as he needs to, as he goes, which is, that's what's really impressive. You know, the voice is incredible, but how well he knows his own voice is what is so impressive to me. As I've always said, the amount of study that he's put into his instrument and the amount of knowledge that he has about the technique he uses, instead of just doing what feels good or doing what feels natural. You know, he's very aware of the mechanics and the science of the voice. So I'm so glad I finally got to listen to Ogni Pietra. This is what I have been waiting for since I heard SOS Danterian the first time. And thank you guys for waiting with me. A lot of you have requested this one. I think this has been my most requested video. So I'm glad I was finally able to get to it. You will finally get to watch it. And yeah. Thanks so much. As always, please like, subscribe, please comment your suggestions. We are always taking note and writing them down so that we can get to them and film them. And if you found this informational or helpful, subscribe. I will see you next time. Toi, toi, toi.